Hello everyone, Formula Ford here and welcome to today's video where we will be continuing our last question mark challenge here on the MotoGP 24 game. For this video we will be racing around the Le Mans track in France, which hosts the 24 hour of Le Mans, and we're going to be racing as Johann Zarco in his home GP on the LCR Honda. It will be a 25% race and we'll be starting from last, which is 22nd place on the grid, and we'll be using the strict penalties as well for the MotoGP stewards. Also, for the assists we will be having none other than the curve indicators for this race. So the sprint will be 4 laps as well as the main race itself will be 7 laps.
Welcome back everyone, the MotoGP grid is complete and everyone is ready to start this Saturday's sprint race. We're expecting an interesting indicator of what we'll see tomorrow despite the shorter duration. The director takes us to the starting grid where riders are trying to maintain their concentration before the start.
Okay, so here we are at the back of the grid ready to start the sprint. We're going to fit the soft tyres on the front and the rear, as well as use a 340mm high mast disc on the front brake. We're going to be reducing the fuel a little bit as we've only got 4 laps ahead of us anyway, as that's a full tank for the race itself. And we're going to, just definitely look that we're going to make the end of the race in this one. And we're going to go into the manual setup and we're just going to go to the electronics unit and we're just going to put that on 4 to make it all balanced all round. And I think that's it. We're just getting ready for the start of the sprint.
Ego Bagnaia triggered the whole shot device ready to start from pole position. Just a few more moments and the Grand Prix will begin.
Here we are then, just getting ready for those lights to go out for this sprint. And we are go for the sprint. It's not a great start for us, in all honesty, but they will bunch up into turn 1 here as Nakagami is all over the place there, so we should get past him. And then we're going to go for the outside move here, so then it will turn to the inside as we come into turn 2 here. Just getting up the inside of Pedro Acosta, and then we're looking at the track out of I think that is Oliveira ahead of us. No, it's Fernandez, sorry. So we're just going around a few of these guys as we go around the outside of Alex Rins, but he's going to fight us back into this next turn here. We can have a little bit of a wobble there as we're going into turn 7, but we do stay on the bikes somehow through there as we're now sizing up Quartararo in this race. Are we going to be able to size him up into this turn here at turn 8? As we are just behind Alex Marquez, we'll give him a little bit of a tap there, and Quartararo is just going to go right round our outside like we weren't even there, in all honesty, and we're just going to take it nice and easy as these tyres are still not up to temperature yet. Even though we're coming to the end of this lap here, just shows how cold it is in this sprint on this race. And we're going to get a track limits warning there. We got a bit greedy there as we're looking at the inside of Quartararo, but nothing doing there. We just got the line all wrong into there. For that incident we will be getting a warning, I suspect, for that, as we did clearly make contact with him. And even the slightest contact in this will get a warning for you, and we just get it pop up there as we come into turn 2. and we're just looking to size up our options at the moment. We haven't got the quickest bike on the grid in the Honda as well. It is such a painful bike to ride on this game. As we're looking around the outside of Castrol, we make that stick, but we do go wide of the apex there. Are we going to be able to stay in front of Castrol? I think we do, just about. We make contact with Alex Marquez as well, so that's going to be another incident warning, I'm afraid. So we're living on the edge a bit here. We've only done 2 laps here and we've already got 3 warnings, so if we get another 2 we'll be invited to a long lap penalty, which is just round here. Looking at the inside of Marquez but nothing doing, so we're coming down here. We've switched the traction control and anti-wheelie down a little bit, just trying to get a bit more power out of these straights as we're coming through the flip-flop here of turn 9 and 10. As Alex Marquez gets one hell of an exit out of there, and yeah, we're not doing that well considering against the AI at the moment, but this Honda is such a handful to race as. I mean, I've raced all the other bikes on this game and nothing is as bad as this. As we go wide into the second to the last corner and we've let Castrol back now into 9th place as we drop out of the points in this sprint race as it goes from 1st to 9th, and we lose a place to Marquez as well as we got a really bad exit to there. We're going really wide of the apex again and we're just going to have to settle into 11th. We're going way too shallow into that corner. We get another warning for track limits there as it's all just falling apart here as we've got nowhere on the tyres. Alex Rins comes back at the inside. We had to hold up the bike there into that turn just to make sure we didn't have too much contact into the turn there, but it all seemed to fall apart. We've lost 3 places in the space of I think 5 corners in all honesty, and that is really not great in this race as we lose the back end again, just trying to fight the bike on exit, but we're trying to make some inroads on the brakes because the Honda just doesn't have the straight line speed for it, but we also need to make good in the corners, but it's just all over the place. So trying to have a look at Alex Rins. We're not going to score points in today's race, I don't think, because Marc Marquez and Castrol just seem too good at the moment, but we could fight Rins for 11th place if we are patient enough in this race and we just stay tailed onto him. As we're coming into the ultimate corner now, we'll start as we look at the inside of Alex Rins, but there's nothing doing into that corner there. As we go on to the last lap of this race, we're going to have to be careful because we've only got 1 warning away before we're on the long lap penalty. And if we go back to past the 1 lap penalty, then we'll get a time penalty in this race. And we don't want to be doing that because we're really, the pack is very close together in all honesty, as a few other riders just getting warnings in this race for track limits as well. So we're not the only one breaking the track limits rule. That's something that I really like about the AI in this game, is that they are prone to mistakes like the player, and they can go on to track limits and they can get long lap penalties as well. As what was absent in the last few MotoGP games as well. Looks like we're going to have to settle for 12th place as we go wide there into Rendezvous, and Luca Marini goes ahead of us now. He's having a good race, and now he is the highest place in the Honda in this race. We want to get back up the inside of him because we want to be the highest Honda on this race. As we go into here now with the flip-flop, and we do get Luca Marini into here, and we're just trying to take it nice and easy into these turns now, making sure that we stay in 12th place ahead of Luca Marini. But, bike's just a massive handful, but we have now just got the warning that we didn't want, and we got a long lap penalty, but we won't serve it, and we'll cross the line in 12th, but I fear we might have just lost all of those places we gained.
At the final results of this race.
Wow, so a good race for Maverick Vinales. He wins on the Aprilia, and then we've got Jorge Martin, the king of the sprints, getting 2nd place, and Nea Bastianini gets 3rd in this race ahead of his teammate Pecco Bagnaia, who finishes in 4th. Then we've got the VR46s having a good race together, with Marco Bezzecchi getting 5th and Fabio Di Gianantonio getting in 6th place. Miguel Oliveira scores points in this race as well for the Trackhouse Aprilia team, so very good race from him. Then we got Alex Marquez in 8th place, scoring the points for the Marquez brothers on the Grassini bike with 2 points. Fabio Quartararo just gets the last point in this race at his home GP, and Marc Marquez just misses out in 10th place. Alex Rins gets 11th place on the Yamaha team. Then Luca Marini is the highest Honda place in this race in 12th place. A very good race for Luca Marini there. Ralph Fernandez becomes home in 13th place for the Trackhouse Aprilia team. Then in 14th place we've got Taka Nakagami, does really good in this race after starting near enough last, scoring 14th in this race. Aleix Spargo gets 15th place for the Aprilia team. Then it's Brad Binder in 16th. Pedro Acosta has a disappointing sprint in only 17th place. Franco Morbidelli gets 18th. Then it's Johan Mir in 19th. Augusto Fernandez in 20th place. Jack Miller is in 21st place, which means we finish last in this sprint after getting that last penalty in the race. So yeah, we've gone from last to last in this race, which is quite funny as it is a last to question mark challenge, so we normally be up in the high places, but we finished last, which is quite funny in all honesty. We need to do better in the main race itself.
Hello and welcome to all you bike fans. We're in France and broadcasting from Le Mans, one of the most iconic circuits in the world. Just a few more moments and we'll switch to the starting straight for the MotoGP class race. Our director takes us to the starting grid where riders are trying to maintain their concentration before the start of the race. The sun is shining but the temperatures are low today. Many riders have braved a soft rear tyre. Given the layout of the track, they've opted for a hard front.
Alright then, so just getting the bike set up for the main race itself. We're going to go into here and just set a medium front tyre in this race, as is recommending us take that, and we're going to do a soft rear tyre recommended in this as well, as the temperatures are not too bad here at Le Mans at this time. And for the front brakes we're going to look at getting a 340mm standard brake, as we had trouble trying to get temperature in the front brake in that sprint race, so it should be a little bit easier to get some temperature in the front brake for the main race itself. Just setting the fuel as well, just making sure that we've got plenty in there as well for the main race, as there's not a lot of places to lift and coast in this race without losing too much advantage to the AI, so we want to make sure that we've just got enough. But we're just going to set it a little bit lower, as we'll be lifting and coasting a little bit on the first lap while it's all bunched up. For the ECU, we've got 3, 4 and 4 at the moment. We're going to take the engine brake to 3 and we're going to put up the traction control to 4 and leave the engine brake at 4. And we're just getting ready now to start the main race itself, where we hopefully will gain more positions than we did in the sprint.
Riders are lined up on the grid with Pecco Bagnaia in pole position and ready to start. Just a few more seconds until the lights go out and the race begins.
Here we are then, back of the grid, building up the revs. What we're going to be able to do in the main race itself as we wait for those lights to go out, and they do now. We get a bad start again in this race. The bike just wanting to wheelie the whole time really, so we're going to be at a disadvantage as we come into turn 1, but they're all bunching up here where we're going to go as we go into turn 3 here. It looks like we're going to go on the outside. We've lost a couple of bikes at the start here. It looks like Enea Bastianini's gone down after a collision with Marc Marquez as well as one other, and we're just looking to go up a few of the riders inside here into turn 6 and we've gone up to 12th place, battling with Quartararo and Fernandez again. Acosta has been given a long lap penalty for that incident at the start of the race, so we'll have to serve that within 3 laps of this race. As we've gone up to 10th place already, looking at having a go at Aleix Spargo, but nothing doing into there, as we would have just made it a bit too audacious. We make a bit of contact on the exit there, as he gets a really good exit, and we just got nothing compared to that Aprilia, as the Honda is pretty atrocious on this game. Coming into the little chicane now in turn 9 and 10, and just coming into here now nice and hard on the brakes, getting a lot of curb into there, and just coming through the flip-flop again, as we have gained 12 places on this opening lap, which has been much better than we did in the sprint race, and a lot more cleaner as well, as we crossed the line, and we are just having real big trouble with the bike wheeling, but we can't go down to 5 because just then there isn't enough power getting into this bike, and yeah, the Honda isn't that powerful of a bike anyway, as Miguel Oliveira and Digi are scrapping it out to try and have a go at me, as Spargo has just gained on us the whole point here since we've got up into 10th place, so it looks like we'll only be fighting for 10th place, as Maverick Vinales has gone down. He's gone down into turn 7 and he loses 2nd place in this race. So, and he's gone out. He's out of this race. So he will not be scoring points for the Aprilia team today. So it is only Aleix Spargo going to be scoring points for the main Aprilia team in this race. As we climb up into 9th place now. We said that we were going to stick into 10th place, but after Maverick Vinales goes down, we now get promoted into 9th, as we go really wide into turn 9 there, and we've just invited Digi to have a go up our inside into here, but we should just about be able to get him on the brakes into here as we cover that off. So 9th place looks like though it is going to be our best position in this race, other than if anyone else does crash. Pedro Acosta has taken his long lap penalty, by the way, as he has gone down from 2nd into around 4th to 7th place, as Digi gets up our inside here, and Alex Marquez has gone down. He was in a podium place, but he's gone down too, so we gain another place and we stay in 9th place actually. But Digi climbs up to 8th as he goes wide into here, and Alex Marquez is another casualty in this race, so he will be not finishing this race for the Grassini team. So that promotes Pedro Acosta back into 3rd place onto the podium, as it looks like Fabio Di Gianantonio is just going to start to slowly go away from us here in this race, as we get really good into the double right-hander here, and we get into the slipstream, enable the ride height device, but that Ducati is just too quick on those straights. It is way too going. As we go wide again into turn 9, we're just trying to make the best of this Honda, and Miguel Oliveira, Raul Fernandez comes up the inside of us, so the Trackhouse boys are having a good race as well in this race, and we're just holding up everyone else behind in this race now, it looks like, as we've lost the place to Raul Fernandez in 9th. We're now looking for the last scrap of the points, I think, as we've got some pretty fast riders behind us now, and we just don't seem to get a good exit out of that last corner, and it looks like Miguel Oliveira could be having to go at the inside or around the outside of us. He goes at the inside, which turns to the outside here, so we might be able to have him into turn 3 and 4. We just about keep him behind here at the start of lap 4. The bike twitching around all over the place. It is definitely the worst bike on this game. It's definitely one of the worst bikes I have ridden on a MotoGP game. So it is very reminiscent of that Honda in real life at the moment. As we're just trying to pick up the bike here where we can, but it just doesn't want to turn at all. We're coming now into Garage Vert, But it's just no wonder that Marc Marquez did leave the Honda team, because this bike is just a pile of absolute rubbish in all honesty. So we're just coming into here now. Can we get it right this time? The answer is no. We've just got a track limits warning in the first of this Grand Prix, so we're going to have to be really careful in this race how we go about it for the track limits or collisions in this race. And we don't want to be having another long lap penalty, but Ralph Fernandez is really slow on the apex here, and we're just going into the last couple of corners here, but we always seem to get a really bad exit out of here. So Ralph Fernandez is going to shoot off again, and Miguel Oliveira does hit us in the back as he's trying to overtake us there. That's not how you overtake someone in real life, Miguel, but yeah. This adaptive AI sometimes is a bit reckless, as we get another track limits warning going and cutting that corner there, and Ralph Fernandez goes really wide of the apex again. He's just really overriding that bike, and I'm surprised he's not gone down with them. He's overriding that, and to be honest, I'm really surprised we're staying on this bike with how much of a piece of crap it is. Just trying to get the bike to turn in as Pedro Acosta's crashed. He has now crashed out of this race as well. Is he going to be another DNFer in this race? No, he is not, but Jack Miller is now out of this race as well. Don't know where he has come off on this race. Oh, he's had contact with Pedro Acosta. So Pedro Acosta having 2 collisions in this race already, and is he going to have another penalty? No, he's just... Oh yes, he has. He's got another long lap penalty. Pedro Acosta has his second long lap penalty in this race, as Miguel Oliveira is behind us sniffing around trying to get an opening around us, and we go wide again, just trying to make the best with this bike, but it is just absolutely terrible, and Miguel Oliveira has done the inevitable and got past us. Augusto Fernandez is now having a go at us, and he gets up into 10th place. It's a very impressive race for him, and just to add insult into injury, we've now lost our 3rd position in a matter of only 4 corners, and we've got Morbidelli in 11th place now. We're now back in 12th place, where we should have placed in the sprint if it wasn't for that long lap penalty that we had and we didn't serve, so we got sent to the back of the grid, as we've now got Johann Mir as the highest Honda behind us, and just going into this corner again where we are really good on the brakes, but we just don't have a good exit, and we get a really big town slapper out of there, and we go on the grass, and we're lucky enough to stay on the bike there as we come into our worst enemy of a corner now. We actually get this pretty spot on for the first time since I think the first lap. So we've either gone wide or we've cut the corner on these last laps. And we're just trying to settle for 12th place now, in all honesty. Just trying to get the best out of this Grand Prix. And just stay as the leading Honda in this race, as Johann Mir is looking at us now. Fabio Quartararo is another fast rider behind us as well. I believe Pedro Acosta has already served his long lap penalty as well, so he still comes up in another high position in this race. The MotoGP stewards just having another load of warnings for the riders going either wide or cutting the corner in this race. Johann Mir has just come out of nowhere really, and he's now got past us in this race, so we're now not the highest place in Honda in here, as we go really hard onto the brakes into that corner there, just trying to get Johann Mir back, in all honesty, because we still want to be the highest leading Honda in this race. Although he has got a long lap penalty, we did not notice that then, so we went really hard into the brakes, and we did make contact with Fabio Quartararo there. We're just trying to save some fuel now, as we've just noticed that we're not going to make it to the end if we stay as we are. So we're just trying to save fuel as where we can, trying to keep Alex Rins behind us, but it looks like he's going to have us in all, as he now goes up into 12th place. And it looks like we're going to score 3 points, or maybe even 2 points, if Luca Marini gets past us into these last corners now. We're going to finish in unlucky 13th place in this race, but it's still a good recovery after starting in 22nd place as we crash with Castrol on the line.
With the end of the MotoGP race. Let's have a look at the race results, and then we'll see you in a moment for the podium ceremony.
Pecco Bagnaia wins here in Le Mans and takes victory from the pole position. Then we've got Marc Marquez finishing in second place for the Gresini team. Marco Bezzecchi makes it an All Ducati podium in third place in this race, rounded out there. And then we've got Aleix Espargaro as the highest place in the Aprilia in this race in fourth place. Brad Binder finishes in fifth place for the KTM team, and this is the highest place in KTM in this race. And then we've got Pedro Acosta finishing in sixth place and gaining the fastest lap. Then we've got Fabio Gianantonio in seventh place for the VR46 team. Then it's a good points haul for the Trackhouse boys, as Raul Fernandez finishes ahead of his teammate Miguel Oliveira as they get 8th and 9th. Then we've got Augusto Fernandez making the top 10 for the Gas team. A very good race from him indeed. Then we've got Franco Morbidelli, who started in the lower places in this race, gets 11th place ahead of his teammate Jorge Martin. Alex Rins then gets 12th place in this race, just ahead of us, in there, just making a last lap overtake on us, as we had to save fuel right at the end there, otherwise we weren't going to make it to the line. We finish in 13th place in this race, so we still have made a load of good places from last on the grid in there, but it's just a shame that we lost a load of places at the end as we didn't make the top 10, as the Honda was just a real piece of work to just try and get across the line, in all honesty. But we finished 13th. Then Luca Marini finishes in 14th in this race for the Repsol Honda team. Then we've got Fabio Quartararo in 15th, getting the last points for the Yamaha team. Then we've got Tako Nakagami, our teammate for this race, finishing in 16th place ahead of Johan Mir on the Repsol Honda. Jorge Martin has a disappointing race after crashing at the first corner with Enea Bastianini in that race, who finishes just behind him in 19th place, so a disappointing race for Enea Bastianini as well. Then unfortunately we have 3 riders that did not finish in this race due to either crashes with other riders or they crashed on their own and dropped the bike. First is Jack Miller, who made contact with Pedro Acosta in that race. Then in 21st place we got Alex Marquez, who we lost on lap 3 at turn 3 of this race, and then we lost Maverick Vinales on lap 2 at turn 7. So that, everyone, is the end of today's video. Thank you so much for watching today. If you have enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a like. If you're new around here, then do get subscribed for more motorsport content like this. I've been Formula Ford, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Goodbye.
Eyes in the sky, gazing far into the night. I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true, baby, let the light shine through. If you believe it's true, baby, won't you let the light shine through for you?